morning. It's Thursday, October 5th. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Up to the Minute. I'm Sharday Campbell, the Strategic Enrollment Communications and Social Media Manager here at Houston Community College. Pleased to be joined by my communications colleague and co-host, Dr. Lana Pagal, who serves as HCC Northwest's Director of Communications. Good morning, Lana.
Good morning.
Yes. Listen, some days you're ready to take on a day, and then some days I made it. I'm here. Today is I made it, and I'm here because the weather outside.
Tell you, after that long, dry, hot summer, rain is welcome, and I'll even take the slow crawl to work in the morning and home in the afternoon.
Yes, it's bittersweet because we got what it's like you got what you asked for. How can you complain, basically?
Well, let me tell everyone how to find us. We're live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page, not HCC, and we're on YouTube. We're also on X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right. And for today's Family Fun Day, we have an interesting turn on par with October and what many call spooky season. We'll be talking to the Funeral Museum about this month's annual Witches Brew Festival. Joining us to talk about that will be Genevieve Kenney-Vazquez, who's the president and CEO of the National Museum of Funeral History. Good morning, Genevieve.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So happy to have you. You and Lana are going to chat in just a second. But first, we're visiting with an HCC professor about his learning framework classes to drive his students to succeed in their early years in their college education. Welcome to the show. I'm welcoming to the show Dr. Bryant Nall, who's an academic student success professor at HCC Central. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nall.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you on. And full disclosure, one of our HCCTV interns, Gabriel Cooper, told us about you in this class, and she is quite impressed. So it's nothing like getting that feedback and praise from your students, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I'm actually humbled by the opportunity, and thank you, Gabrielle, for recommending that I do the show this morning.
Yes. And is this your first time on the show?
It is.
It is. So listen, shout out to Gabriel, because you wouldn't have been here without it. So let's begin with telling us a little bit about what is called the Learning Framework class, which is essentially EDUC 1300, referred to by many. And, a lot of it, I monitor social media. A lot of students are like, so what do I have to take this class for? Why am I being forced to take this class? And it's so interesting, the feedback that other students will have about it. And a lot of times we hear from students who have been out of school for a while and just and appreciate the content around the success strategy. So for those who are wondering, what can they stand to gain from EDUC 1300? What can they expect?
Sure. EDUC 1300 Learning Framework is what I like to call that college experience course. And for many, it's a first year experience course. Students are able to come into the course. And what we like to say in our course is that the course is all about them. It's all about the student. And what that means is we want to take them from not just surviving, but thriving in the experience. And so what we do in that course is designed to give them tools, strategies, and resources for not just their academic development, but their personal development. And so we discuss things like time management, career exploration is a big one for us. But I really drive home the need to understand their why and their purpose. I think it's important that they understand that, because that is what will continue to motivate them to move forward in the experience that they're having as a student. And so I think this course is uniquely designed and necessary for everyone, not just in their first year experience, but those students who are returning as well. Because for many of our students that are returning, they have been out for quite some time. And so they may not know how the college experience is for them now as it was for them then. And so it's really a good refresher for those returning students, but those first year experienced students get the opportunity to explore. If I were to use another word besides college, it would be to explore. That is your time to discover who you are and what it is that you desire to do. And what our course is designed to do is to help navigate that experience.
You know, let's unpack, so because you made like three key points that I want to kind of drive in on. So
Sure.
one is time management. Now the average age of our students is 24 years old, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that life, that means you have responsibilities. And then when you add on taking on college courses on top of your other responsibilities, you have to do this intentional reset and step back and say, okay, now how do I juggle this all with the coursework? And I think many are met with the fact, I don't have time management strategies. Like I had enough to go to work on time. I had enough to make sure my family, loved ones were good, but now adding this on top of it, I'm not sure I have the tools to manage it. So I think that's, one of the reasons why time management is just so important in that first year.
Absolutely. Time management, what I like to teach my students about time management is it's not about managing your time. Time management really is about managing yourself to make time. So it then goes back to self, right? And then I get to point out again, this course is about who? It's about you. So it really turns out to be this idea of finding balance, right? And I always tell students, you knew what you were doing before you signed up for classes. You knew the load that you had before school was even put into the equation. So now we have added yet another thing to our plate. How do we balance it? And that's just what it's all about, finding that balance, but also finding that support. And I think HCC does a great job in the number of resources that we have to offer our students the support that they need to help find that balance that they're looking for. And so again, it's important that they understand that time management really is about managing yourself to make time, putting those first things first, right? If school is a priority, then we understand that what we value is what's most important to us, and what's important to us generally become our priorities. And so if school is a priority for us, then we understand that we have to kind of put those first things first and kind of balance out the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And, going back to what you're saying around self, and specifically what you leaned into around discovery, one of the biggest things, that we're met with, I work in student services. You see this on the faculty side, but, we ask, okay, so what do you want to do? Which is like a loaded question, right? And then they'll say, well, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, so what are you good at? I don't know. Okay, so what do people come to you for that they think that you're good at? Maybe that'll give you some insight around it. So I know you all take the time within the curriculum to help students do that exploration and give them the tools to do the exploration to get clearer about how their education and their career path meet for their goals.
Absolutely. That piece on self-exploration is so important. Again, it really goes back to who you are. And if we understand who we are, then we understand who it is that we want to become and the impact that we will make becoming that thing, right? Whatever that is, whether it's a nurse, a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, right? We understand that self-assessment is the process of gathering information about yourself to make informed decisions. So what are your interests? What is your personality like? What are your skills? What are you good at? And we take those pieces and help them to discover that, specifically those who aren't quite sure, right? We do have a lot of students who are undecided. What I love about our course is that they get to come into my class And I get to play with their metacognition, right? I get them to thinking about what it is they're thinking about, because we know they're thinking about something, otherwise they wouldn't be there. But I want to know, why are you thinking about becoming an anesthesiologist? What makes you think that that is the desired career path for you and your future? And so we start to build around that. And I love to see the light bulb come on, because I make them think about things that they otherwise would not have thought about. So when we say, what is it that you want to become? And they say, I don't know. My next questions become, who do you want to help and how do you want to help them? If we can get to that, if we can get to that foundation, those two foundational questions, I think that would drive critical thinking, because students haven't heard those questions before. They've heard, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
But they haven't heard, who do you want to help and how do you want to help them? Now we start to have a conversation around getting to the nitty gritty.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like you are like you have a full repository of quotes, because I feel like you were speaking in them. So in this last minute that we have, I think it'd be remiss if I didn't ask the question, why does the quote, learn, unlearn, and relearn, hold so much meaning for your work with students?
It holds so much because Alan Toffler said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those that cannot read or write, but those that cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I believe what he was saying was, we have to be willing to open our minds up to be able to adapt to our environment that we're in currently, right? He spoke about that quote in his book about change and adapting to change. And so I think it's important for the first time student as well as the returning student to be able to be willing to open their mind and realize their fullest potential by getting out of their fixed mindset. What they thought may have been the college experience may not be the college experience for them, but I want to give them the opportunity to realize the possibility, the infinite possibilities that exist outside of their mindset or what they've always known. So I think it's important that students understand learning, unlearning, and relearning, that it's really all about adapting to change.
I think that is the perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Bryant Nall, who is an academic success professor for HCC Central. If you are interested in adding EDUC 1300 to your course load as a late start course for fall or looking ahead to spring, be sure to check the details in the post after the show. Thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Nall.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Lana, heading over to you.
Yes, we are moving on to Genevieve Kenney-Vazquez, the president and CEO of the National Museum of Funeral History. Welcome back to the show, Genevieve.
Thank you. I always love coming and talking about the museum. It's a fabulous place. And so many people, I think they underestimate us and the worth and value we have to life.
Yes. Well, look, this is my favorite time of the year. Fall and all the activities that go along with it, moving into the winter and holiday season. So I'm looking forward to hearing about this event and the museum. So let's start with the Witches Brew Market. You're kicking off the Halloween season with this event. So tell us about it.
Yes, it's our first time ever doing this. So we're really excited to see how, people are going to react to it and how they're going to have fun with it. Because really that's what we want people to do, is come out and sip, shop, and stroll amongst the museum's exhibits and check out all these amazing, cool vendors that we've brought in. We've searched far for really eclectic vendors that have like oddities and things that you might not see at your general farmer's market. And we brought it together to kind of have a fun shopping experience, but we want everyone to dress up in their favorite witch's costume and really embrace the fun Halloween season that we're upon.
So there are tickets, though, to the market. Is that correct? Can you tell us about those?
Yes. And, sometimes people say, well, why do I want to pay to go shopping? But there's so much more going on than just shopping. So you're going to get, for $40 ticket, it's going to get you your general admission into the museum to see all the exhibits that we have on display, as well as allow you to enjoy light bites in the museum as you're, browsing the vendors and the exhibits, and also 3 drink tickets so that you can enjoy beverages along with your food. But then those are $40. And then, of course, if you want to upgrade to our VIP, That is $75, and you're going to get a commemorative Witches Brew custom made for the event wine glass that you can drink your beverages in throughout the evening, as well as custom made genuine leather earrings for the event. You get in an hour early to the vendor market. And so you really get a little bit more exclusivity, if you will, as a VIP.
That's a great deal. Honestly, you can shop, you can eat, you can drink, and you get gifts, and that's a good deal. So let's talk a little bit about the museum. So in general, what will visitors expect to see when they visit your museum?
Well, of course, you're going to see the obvious, the caskets and the hearses, right? That's just given. But really and truly, you're going to see amazing exhibits that are showcasing very historical events. But if you take a step back, you see the evolution of our profession, which is the funeral director and or mortician. And so it's really done very well in all these different specifically designed exhibits. We have the presidential exhibit, where we go all the way back to George Washington, where you can see his funeral bill. We have the Thanks for the Memories, where you get to see funeral memorial folders and or actual items from funerals of famous people, iconic people who were politicians that made a huge impression, all the way from the person who invented Doritos. You get to see his memorial folder. Sometimes I'll get a memorial folder that comes across my desk, and I'll be like, well, who is this? And of course, I'll do my research as also the curator of the museum. And I have to say, the Doritos founder was the one that still sticks with me, because I really didn't know who he was until I researched him. So, of course, I had to run out and get a bag of Doritos to add to the exhibit. So, but it's just very, it's a very uplifting museum. People might think it's somber, but it's not. It's very educational. Very historical. We always highlight significant events that have impacted us, nationwide, worldwide. And then we have International Hall, where you learn customs and traditions from different parts of the world. So it's a really, really fascinating museum. People tend to lose the concept of time once they walk in, because there is so much to see. So if you're a history buff, you like learning. One teacher came in and was doing a field trip for her kids and said, wow, this is amazing, because all of a sudden the history books, the things that children are learning in their history books, have jumped out of the books and come to life. So it's just a whole nother way of learning history.
Yeah, you don't think about history and science in the funeral business. So that's pretty fascinating. And the customs that other cultures have, here in the US, we tend to wear black to funerals, where South Pacific Islands, they wear white because they're celebrating as opposed to mourning. So I'm fascinated by the Doritos guy, because that, to me, I would go just to honor him. Oh my gosh, what a great invention. But we understand you're celebrating a significant anniversary. It's the founding of the museum. When did it open?
So actually, the museum opened in 1992. That's when they broke ground. We call it our opening, but we broke ground. We actually have the shovel on display in the museum when we first broke ground. So we're celebrating over 30 years of being right here in our city. And I have to say, for probably a good 24 to 25 of those years, we were the best kept secret in Houston, because so many people didn't know we were there. But we're making a splash, and so we're celebrating 30 years. We've been in the exact same location, and we hope that if you have not had a chance to come out to the museum and experience it, please do. It truly is fascinating. And we have a lot of repeat customers, because they'll come in and they'll be like, wow, I didn't realize there was so much to see. Oh, can I come back? Because I didn't have enough time to see everything. Or, oh my God, it's so amazing. I can't wait to bring my friends and family. So it is a lot of fun. And the month of October is an opportunity for us to kind of put that fun in funeral, if you will. We honor the dead. We respect the living and those that live behind, but October becomes our fun month. And so we have a lot of awesome things coming up for the month of October. So we always ask people, check the website, because it's always changing. We keep it up to date on what's going on. And the Witches Brew this year, we got lucky, is on Friday, October 13th.
Wow. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
tell us some of the cultural traditions that you have on display.
One of our largest ones is the Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. And, being here in Houston, we have a very large Hispanic culture, Latin American culture as well. And it's a tradition where they actually celebrate the people who have died before them. It's very colorful. There's food being served. There's graves that are being visited. If you ever go into a cemetery around the end of October, the beginning of November, you're going to see that if they're of a Hispanic or Latin American descent, there's a lot of decorations and adornments. They've adorned their loved one's burial site with food items, with things that they enjoyed during life, things that they believe that they're going to enjoy when their spirit returns during the Day of the Dead, which is traditionally November 1st. To enjoy the things that they had in life, that for that one day they're coming back to enjoy. Their spirit is, and then their spirit will return back to their burial place for another year and come back and visit the family again. So it's a very interesting custom and tradition. There's so many things that on display in that exhibit that are very symbolic to the life and death cycle, like a circle bread and like a donut, a representative of the circle of life. Or they have the pan de muerte, which is the bread of the dead, where it's a big old round loaf of bread and it has crossbones on the top. So they really go, they're very detail oriented, and they have fun with the holiday. It gives them time to remember their ancestors, but it also allows them to appreciate that they were able to live another year of their life.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Well, thank you, Genevieve Kenney-Vazquez, President, CEO of the National Museum of Funeral History, and we'll have your info in our post after this show.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're on mute. Sade, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. It's always so interesting. It's always so interesting when we have such diametric segments.
Yes.
And so we're going to close with news and announcements as we always do. Going to kick things off with an acting for film workshop coming up at A-Leaf Hayes. Is in October. It'll be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. starting today, all Thursdays in October at the A-Leaf Hayes Campus Screening Theater. It's open to the public. Be sure to check details after the show for more information.
Yep. And SCORE workshop is coming up on contract management. HCC Entrepreneurial Initiatives and SCORE are offering free workshops to help local businesses as well as our entrepreneurial students. And that is today, Thursday, October 5th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at our Missouri City campus. And check out our post after the show for more information.
Yes, and October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we will be having our HCC team called Team Tough Cookie at the Susan Coleman Race for the Cure. Join the HCC Team Tough Cookie at the race and sign up to get your t-shirt. Contact Ashley Rose for more details. It'll be happening this Saturday, October 7th. Details about how to contact Ashley will be posted after the show.
And there is no up to the minute tomorrow. So as a reminder, HCC's fall convocation is tomorrow, which also means that we will not be here. And it's mandatory for all faculty and staff to attend. And again, that's tomorrow, Friday, October 6th. So check out our show after the show for convocation information.
All right, we have our ongoing faculty exhibition, and it is called Converging Ground Level, and it'll be on display at our Northline Gallery. Is free to the public. It's open until November 3rd. The collection of paintings, drawing, and mixed media digital artworks is by faculty member Elizabeth Capew. This is one of several faculty exhibitions now open around the HCC system. Check the post after the show for details.
And registration is still open for our shorter semester, although fall and even second start are in full swing. Smaller, more intensive semesters are still available, and all courses are offered in person and online. We have our online anytime, no established class meeting times unless listed. Online on a schedule, meeting time is set and course meets online. Hybrid, lecture class meets partially face-to-face and partially virtually. In person, face-to-face courses with traditional meeting patterns at various campus locations, and hybrid labs, which are our laboratory and studio courses. And to learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover costs, go to hccs.edu/apply.
All right, coming up after convocation, and again, as Lana announced, there will be no show tomorrow because of convocation, but coming up afterward on Monday, we'll have Mental Health Monday. We'll visit with the founder of the Real Mental Health Network, who says he's on a mission to harness the power of conversation and community to improve mental health care through human and financial capital. And later in the week, for Good Works Wednesday, we'll visit with a former HCC colleague who now works for the East Fort Bend Human Needs Ministry, a food pantry and a resale shop. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of Up to the Minute. We'll see you next week.